And with that, I'd like to recognize the distinguished ranking member for his comments, Senator Murphy.
Thank you very much, Chairman Daines, and I do look forward to continuing to work with you to draw us closer to our allies in Central Asia through the amendment of the antiquated restrictions built into the Jackson-Vanik Amendment. I hope that we can move that bipartisan legislation, that bipartisan effort through the Senate to the President's desk quickly. Thank you to the witnesses who are joining us here today. We are facing one of the most dangerous moments in U.S.-Russia relations since the end of the Cold War. Unable to militarily conquer Ukraine, but emboldened in part by American inaction, the Kremlin is pushing the boundaries with increasingly direct threats to NATO members. Within the last month, Russia sent nuclear-capable fighter jets into Estonia's airspace with their transponders turned off, and launched a swarm of over a dozen drones into Poland. The aggression has now spread to the Black Sea with a drone incursion into Romania. Putin is acting with virtual impunity, in part because he knows he will likely face zero consequences from President Donald Trump. The president who should be leading this response to show Putin these actions are unacceptable is not leading. The president has rolled out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin in Alaska, but Putin happily pocketed that diplomatic win and went right back to firebombing Kyiv and declined requests to enter serious negotiation. The administration's deadlines for peace talks have just come and gone, and yet they still refuse to support bipartisan sanctions legislation that's been pending now in the Senate for months. And there's been no new request for additional funding for Ukraine in Congress. As Britain's M16 chief noted recently, Russia does not have the wherewithal to fully subjugate Ukraine by force. So the only way that Moscow at this point can achieve its objectives is by weakening the United States and European support for Ukraine and exploiting divisions within and among NATO nations. And this is where our conversation today about the Black Sea region becomes so key. Russia is pursuing an aggressive strategy to undermine pro-Western democratic governments throughout Europe, and the Black Sea region is especially vulnerable. Moscow is pouring billions into bribery, propaganda, subversion, and energy bullying in order to install governments in this region that are friendly to Moscow. But the administration's response has been basically to unilaterally disarm. In Moldova, where a pro-Western government was facing a barrage of hybrid attacks from Russia ahead of the elections last weekend, the administration's response was to pull 2/3 of our assistance programs. While Russia is pouring billions into propaganda and influence campaigns, the administration shut down the capacity at the State Department to fight back against Russian propaganda, the Global Engagement Center. This Department of Justice has slashed anti-corruption programs and stopped enforcing the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which prevented American companies from paying bribes. At the same time that we know bribery is one of the main pathways for Russia to gain influence in this region. In Romania, a key NATO frontline state, the Trump administration is signaling they may draw down our military presence, once again weakening the argument for why citizens should back a pro-Western, pro-American government. History shows us that Russia does not respond to concessions or mixed signals. It responds to strength and to clear red lines. U.S. policy in the Black Sea region must reflect this reality. I thank our witnesses. I look forward to your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.